Hi, welcome. On this is part four, again, of profiling trainers doing it right. And again, when I talk about doing it right, it means, again, I talk about the core ingredients, okay, being reconciled beyond just, again, not using treats. Again, you see trainers out there that will promote that narrative. Hey, we don't use treats. But again, the question, it goes further than that at the social level. Are those core ingredients reconciled through a interaction based approach? Again, talk about how the leashes are used, how the trainers interact. And with these two trainers, absolutely. From what I'm seeing here going into this, you're seeing how this all comes together. The statements the trainers make about a process, all of it. So again, I wanted to do a series again because again I put out so many videos about what's wrong, and there's a lot wrong. Okay, in the dog training community, I mean, going all day long, so it comes off a certain way because it's just like. But so when I encounter trainers out there, I don't care where they live in the world, and they're doing it right. Well, I think that's fantastic. I want to see. I'd love to see more of it because again, that's what's going to get this turned around for dogs and owners information. So I would really encourage people to check out these trainers, k9Staya. Your link is in my on my YouTube channel. You can click on the link and just show them support. Just go and ask questions. They're on my YouTube videos, respond to questions as well. So I think it's fantastic. So, keep playing some. So here you see again the interaction part of it. Again, talked about last video about movement while in motion. So you're seeing all the stuff I talk about. It's always easier, when you're moving with the dog, they start to, because what happened is because again, the type of dynamic, okay, is the type of power play, the dog will try to move away, right? You don't want to step towards the dog. You want to corral the dog while the dog's still in motion with your hand and guide them into right beside you. Okay, you see that happening with this little dog over here.
I'll also add that for a truly under.
So that's perfect. So same thing, just right up. See how he's moving the leash here right up. And so again, the objection points a lot of these trainers have dealt with, right? Right. This is where they don't, they'll talk this thing about free will and choice. They'll prefer to use a treat to bribe these dogs up. That's a problem. You can understand. Talk about the core ingredients. It needs to be reconciled to generate what needs to be generated, okay, to affect change, to change the perception of the dog. And the dog coming into agreement with. So yeah, you're going to get a little bit more disagreeableness. But when you get these reactions of the dogs, understand typically we look at it and say, oh, the dog's being choked. And you see this is so common amongst so many dog trainers out there because they're not able to reconcile the reaction to the relationship. Okay, once the relationship has gone sideways, it's mind and body. Okay, so a lot of these reactions will manifest in the physical way, but typically not because the device is causing it. It's because the dog's reactive already, the stress of the dog. Okay, so to work through that, you've got to work through it. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't have accommodation, because again, if I'm dealing with a dog that is at a high level and a lot of stress, the dog can be aggressive, I'm really going to be a lot more patient. I'm still in full control, but I'm going to really break it down more. Okay, that's what you need to do. Be more intentional with how you're doing it. You watch my videos with how I'm dealing with, say, really aggressive dogs, because it is a conversation. Okay, still, but the integrity of those core ingredients, how they come together a certain way, you've gotta, you have to be kind of more, considerate, because again, it can trigger things off. Okay, dogs under a high level of stress, so you have to be kind of break it down more. So like you're taking more breaks, working near that crate, just hanging out with the dog. So there's certain things that you're doing, okay, to help the dog to work through it, because there still has to be a working through. Okay, so there's accommodation that way, because it's like, for example, you're dealing with a really selfish, out of control child. You just don't barrel into their bedroom and start pulling all the video game. Just don't go, because you're going to get a high level of resistance and pushback because you're going in that way. You're still going in terms of your parental role. You still, as a parent, okay, you're in control, but you're doing it in such a way that you want, you want to find that balance, okay, that right. I want to keep things leveled out, okay. So there's a way to do that. And this goes into the whole methodology of it. And I encourage you too, if you're interested in this method, through the system, I got the courses, okay. I got all, you can go as deep as you want to go. it gets into. So if you're watching the videos, and this is part of the issue, is like I'm saying things that this happens in my comment section. It doesn't. It's hard to make sense of it. I say, oh, Dale's talking about a certain thing. It comes to experience, but it comes through the doing part. Okay, it comes through actually investing fully in the system. I mean, you can't go into it. I said this before as a as kind of a hybrid balanced dog trainer. This ain't gonna work. You gotta let that go. Okay, you just gotta push that to the side, and it's like going into it with a fresh outlook, and the great things will happen. Okay, so that's my kind of encouragement: is don't do that. Okay, you can't keep your feet in two worlds at the same time. It's going to cause a major problem. So
stand food training. It needs to be hungry. And being constantly hungry and having to perform tricks for food is also
so you see those little reactions here. So she's moving, okay, with the leash. This dog's going up in the air somewhat, okay, because you're going to get those type of disagreeable moments, right? But because it's a power play, right? So you have to work through those. So certain things will trigger it. So movement can actually reduce it. Okay, you can work off certain dynamics, but then when you stop, they'll go up high again because it's the stopping. So it's like is knowing how to intermix certain interactions, okay, to get the result you want, to keep the level of conflict as low as possible, because I want the highest level of agreeableness, but based on those core ingredients being reconciled properly at the same time. Okay, so there's things that need to happen, come together. So here you see this dog locking in. And what I say about the whole Grey Goose situation, right? That's the test, the level of disagreeableness. So right here, he's working through a relationship problem, but he's actually working through it. Okay, he's not stopping and right. And see, that's the point. He's like, this is really the objection point for, say, Murdoch and all these trainers. Like, when you get to this point here with this little dog over here, what does that do to your state of mind? Okay, how do you see that? The dog understands intent, right? Because how the direction of the leash, the dog understands where you want them to go, right? They're locking in only because it's about who's in control. Okay, understand your brain. You're not using a treat. You're not associating it to a command that's part of the relationship the wrong way. Okay, this is pure demand. Okay, this is where it needs to go. Pure demand. It's a reasonable demand, but you have this state of right disagreeableness. It's like the selfish child. Well, you got to lock. There's a locking. It doesn't mean you're dragging the dog necessarily at all. You mean the mind will kind of you'll see the mind will buckle and come into agreement. It's like the if you ever watch a tug of war team, back and forth, and the first signs of the one side that's about to collapse, like the guy at the front is starting, his legs are starting to wobble, and you see the shakiness, and before it happens, say that team is in bed. They're going to go. They're going to get pulled down into the water or whatever is in between the two teams. You can see it start that. Well, that's really the concept here. Okay, with the method. Okay, how influence is affecting the mind of the dog. If you watch it, you'll see it's just like you're bringing the state of mind to a point of going into a speed wall, and then the agreeableness happens. So it's like you're taking that level, just going a little bit beyond that locking in point. It is uncomfortable for the dog, but the dog's making that choice, right? Understands intent. It's really what man, but you're dealing with a relationship problem to begin with. Understand you have to package this up properly. You have to remove this whole idea about it being a learning based exercise. It's not a learning based exercise. Okay, it's a intervention, right? So this is really the most challenging part for people when they see something like this, because it's like I want to give the dog the choice. Well, no, think about the selfish child. It's not about free will that way and choice that way. The choice is you're moving. Okay, it's like you're picking up your toys because you're the parent. It's a reasonable expectation, but it's social. Okay, strength defined through hierarchy. You talk about strength and weakness through nature. Well, this is all part of it. It's about your role. It's about how you're perceived in that through that connection.
stressful.
Seeing the dog move forward, right? And the focus shifts right here. You see the dog's eyes looking up. So that's that inwardness. So what happens here, the mind is affected, the body moves, mind and body, the focus shifts onto what I call fading into the relationship. And you'll see those tangible things. Understand that when you break this system down, there's things you can take a hold of. Okay, that really dials you into what's happening in the moments. Okay, and those are the building blocks of change. What starts to affect the dog's overall decision making process. Okay, that's what starts to happen. So the method itself, it starts to diminish over time. Okay, it's a temporary type of power play process because you're in the middle of a relationship problem. But everything starts to move forward. Okay, that's part of the process.
And even more
You see that to move the dog
stressful than
over.
right now. As the owner, I simply have to tug on
So right here, and this is happening. This trainer here needs to apply some, a little bit more to buckle the mind over. Okay, that's the thing
the
too.
leash and force it to do what
Right
I
away. Yeah.
want. Let's talk about this whole issue of resistance in more detail because it's something that everyone will inevitably encounter.
So right here, you see her, the trainer moving. You stop that little bit of that little bit of disagreeableness at certain stopping points. That's why I say you have to stop because stopping is a reasonable demand, but it forces right that type of a relational shifting. Hey, I'm in control. We're stopping. Because movement, I mentioned this before, if you move too quickly with dogs, that can be a problem too if you're in the middle of a relationship problem because the mind's jumping, offer up a fake picture, a counterfeit picture. That's why I talk about this whole off leash thing, off leash thing. Don't go, you have to break this down to this level, okay? Yeah, you're gonna get off leash and you're gonna have a great off leash relationship the right way, not the wrong way. So this how you have to break it down this way.
That's the thing. People seem to buy into this
Just don't
whole idea.
see right here, they're talking about resistance right now. So this dog is going into the resistance mode. So when it's the same thing, it's the type of conversation. Okay, dog understands intent here. It's like, how do you get the dog to relax? Because as you go through this dynamic, the dog will release stress at the same time. You're de-stressing the dog.
This essentially false mythology, which was invented for the circus and forced, not for real life.
So she does a great job here, of of how she's using the leash skill, right? It's like getting this dog to relax. That's what it is. You can have these up and down moments, right? Just like, you have a little bit of challenge, drops down, but that's how it works. It just keeps going. It's like the stock market, peaks and valleys. But if you step back and look at it overall, you'll see the decline through that process. So it's like you're going to have moments of challenge because it is a power play throughout the entire process. But how you're doing it, okay? It's just like doing it in a way that you're not mad, you're not angry, you're calm. It's all about the method. Okay. It's all about getting this dog. So the positive here, you don't want to be petting these dogs. Okay. Don't want to be petting. Going on. The positive is the fact you're taking the stress off the dog. And the positive, you're rewarding a dog in certain moments. That's a problem because you're still dealing with stinking thinking. Okay. You're not outside the range of a relationship problem yet. You're in the middle of it. And so you start to put emotion on it or start petting the dog. That will give control back and it'll give you another, bad picture at a certain level. You need to remove that. All the petting, all the rubbing. Understand the dog knows you're happy, okay, because it's about relationship, it's connection. You're taking the stress off the dog. So the dog understands there's a type of language that's being spoken beyond words through the method. Okay. So she does a great job here.
Based
See?
on food. Which, yes, is where they lead a dog for a piece of food. So the thing is, they're trying to resolve this issue of disagreement through bribery. Oh,
He's right. So you're trying to, the disagreement, that's where trainers will switch. Say, I don't like that. I don't like that type of reaction. But think of it as just like a selfish child. You can have a reaction in a store or something, and then it's like, what do? You bring those themes in bribery, accommodation, negotiation. It'll appear to calm, but you're not fixing anything. It's like, do you understand this is what the dog training world is based on? You're not working through a problem. Just like talk about that pulling that leash for that objection point right there. You have a choice to make right there. Do you work through it or do you stall out and then do something else to try to gain to motivate the dog? Now it's bribery. Yeah, you can get that response, but that's a fake response. Like, see, you have to understand how these dynamics work. It's not just about response that way. It's not about just superficial response. This is about relationship. And so these things have to come together this way. Period.
they call it tasting. They've come up with all sorts of smart words and so on. But the thing is, none of this changes the
See,
essence
Jesus?
of the matter. The dog simply doesn't do what it's told at the moment because it has other interests. It's a dog. It wants to be a dog. Yeah, that's it. And you can't solve that.
So anyway, I'll stop it here. Again, great. It's great seeing trainers out there advocating Okay, a you know a great a great way of training. It's the way I talk about. So for people to say, "Oh, Dale's system," there's some no, people can figure it out. This is proof of it. You have to apply some critical thinking, and these trainers have done that. Okay, they've invested the time clearly. It's great seeing this. I mean, I want to profile again. I'll continue to profile these trainers there as they put out content. Go check out their channel. Again, it's great content. They're talking through everything properly. It may actually click better for people because I have a certain way of talking that may hamper people's understanding. But even though this is auto dub, it's a foreign language, but he has a great way of explaining it. So listening to him and then you listen to other people who get it, it's the light bulb can come on. The method stays the same. Everything needs to be that way, but the way of explaining it to people, right? That's what matters. So you may hear something that they're saying that may resonate better, in terms of, oh, okay, okay, I know I heard Dale say it. They said it a different way. That makes sense. Because the goal in the end is to be able to resolve the right way, to be able to work through it. And there can be a lot of challenges with, because what's popular, right? You see everyone using treats, bribing these dogs, even some of the trainers that don't use treats, but they're still identified as balanced dog trainers. Problem. Those core ingredients need to be reconciled, and there's only one way to do it. It's through a intentional interaction-based method, which these trainers here are doing that. So, and all the stuff he's saying lines right up. So great watching them. Go check out their channel. Thanks for watching.